All right, guys, look at this wonderful cinnamon spiced apple cake. We're gonna make this exact cinnamon spiced cake starting now. Hey, I'm Chef Kyle from Kyle's Creations, here to make healthy and simple recipes for everyday living. If you're new here and you love creative cooking, especially desserts, hit that notification bell and subscribe now. It's gonna be delicious, simple, easy cake using everyday ingredients. Bonus tip, we've brought back the golden raisins. It's gonna add a little bit of sweetness, and there's plenty of healthy benefits to golden raisins, even apples as well. If you guys want to know more information about golden raisins, apples, or other ingredients that I use in my cooking videos, click my WebMD links in the description. First, we're gonna cream the unsalted butter and sugar together. Butter, you can see right now, is room temperature. We don't want it to be melted. We want to create some structure and some air between paddle, the butter, and the sugar. So sugar's going in, the paddle attachment is going on right now. Of course, don't have a mixer, you can do this by hand. And we're gonna turn it. Do it for about 2 minutes. Once you start to see that the sugar gets fully incorporated, mixes nicely with the butter, becomes one. Also be mindful, time is also an ingredient. Well, give that a final scrape. 2 large eggs, and we're gonna go 1 egg at a time. 1 egg's going in, wait for that to dissolve, and why not? I'm gonna add a little bit of the vanilla extract, just half a teaspoon. Okay, 2nd egg is going in with that vanilla extract. Dry ingredients, you can always do this first. I'm gonna do it right now. So this was based on an old apple, which was called an apple pie cake. It was really an apple cake recipe that I had made before. And I had trouble with the recipe because I felt like it was too much flour and it formed a very dense crust, which was very tasty. But underneath that crust, it didn't allow the cake to bake properly, and it was a little overly moist in the middle. This is an adapted recipe where I changed the proportions. I added less sugar, but by using less sugar, it's gonna be just as flavorful, but it's not gonna be as heavy. Everything is gonna rise the same time the way that a normal cake should. Speaking of mixing ingredients and changing the amount of the ingredients that I'm adding, we're gonna start with actually 1 cup of flour. The original recipe calls for about 2 cups of flour. Add baking powder. Ground cinnamon is going in. Baking soda is going in right now. And now we're adding a secondary warming spice, which is ground nutmeg. The 3rd warming spice is we're gonna add a little bit of cardamom. I love to add my signature ingredient, which is fresh ginger, but we're gonna add dried ginger powder instead. That's going right in. Can't forget, a little bit of salt is going in there. And we're gonna sift that and give that final whisk. Now we're gonna add the apple in there. Okay, now I'm just gonna peel the apple. The easiest way I find is actually going from right to left or left to right and just go in one smooth rhythm. And just follow that contour of the apple skin. So this apple cake is, the serving size for this apple cake is perfect for about 4 to 6 people. Everyone can get their own slice. If you guys have a specific fruit, please drop a comment letting me know your favorite fruit to use when baking. I would love to know. Chop this in half, quarter it, take it at an angle. I do find the smaller you chop up the apple, the easier it will melt into the cake, and you'll get the same consistency as well. Just gonna take a cheek, meaning a small slice of the lime. You are gonna use the zest as well, and that can go right into my mixing bowl. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of the zest. Alright, that's all the zest. Let's mix it up. It smells so good, guys. You can smell all those flavors. I'm also throwing in the golden raisins, the bonus ingredients. So that give that a quick stir. Okay, dry ingredients, I'm gonna put it a little bit at a time. So So we'll go in 3 parts and just put it on stir for 1. Last bit of flour is going right in and back on stir. Let's go. Okay, it's perfectly mixed. I'm just gonna scrape down the sides. Don't want to over mix any cake batter. Just gonna do a final mix. Okay, now we're gonna transfer it to our baking loaf, and I'm going to show you how to prepare that right now. This is about a 6 or 7 inch springform pan. You can use a regular pan. I just like this. It's easier to remove, and the spring side you just have to remove. You just make sure that it's on tight. Batter may leak through the bottom. I have a parchment round right here to prevent the cake from sticking. We're just going to spray it and just lightly spray the sides. A little bit of flour, the leftover flour that I didn't need because we improvised this recipe. And we're just gonna coat it. We formed a nice protective barrier. Now I'm not putting my parchment round in there too. It's also gonna make it easier to remove. All my batter is going in. Just gonna give it a final scrape and just even it out. So this is, as you can see, literally in live time, this is such an easy cake recipe. Everything is flat. Give it a quick tap. There should be no air bubbles. We're gonna bake this at 350 degrees and we're gonna shoot for about 45 minutes, and we'll use a cake tester or a toothpick to see that it comes out clean. So, going right in my oven and we'll be back soon. All right, I'm pulling out the cake right now. I tested it. It's perfectly cooked. Look at that even browning. You even see bits of the apple on top, which is beautiful. Now I'm gonna leave it here on a wire rack so it can circulate and cool off. And before we slice it, we're gonna let this rest for at least 15-20 minutes. All right guys, we're back. This is the best part. I'm gonna slice the cake. I have my tea here to enjoy. So I'm gonna unmold this cake. And it comes out pretty loose. There we go. And you could just use your knife, go around the sides. It's a very easy cake recipe. 1, 2, 3. Powdered sugar. Here's the moment I've been waiting for. We're gonna slice into it. As you can see, I'm gonna go down the middle. You can actually go across, but we're just gonna go down this way. And it's better to use a serrated knife. It's still warm. Alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and get all my latest and tasty recipes, including this one, which I can't wait to try right now. It looks so fluffy and lovely. You can see the bits of spice that are speckled in there, along with the beautiful coating that's coming from the golden raisins. It's shimmering off this sort of brown and caramel color. It's wonderful. And the apple is mixed in there with a nice, very snow-like coating of powdered sugar. Now we're gonna try this right now. This is so light and fluffy. It's got a beautiful balance of warming spices. And at different points, you taste the different warming spices. I start to taste the cardamom first, finishes off with a little bit of cinnamon that gives me the warming spice that I want to keep tasting more and more of this cake. The golden raisins, it has like a nice, slightly chewy texture to it, and they've become nice and caramelized. The last memory I taste is the cinnamon apple flavor, which is the highlight of this easy cinnamon apple spiced cake. And I have another perfect recipe. It's using cinnamon and apple, but in a different way. So here I give you many different options to make recipes. This is actually the easiest one. So if you enjoyed making this recipe, you're gonna enjoy this cinnamon apple hand pie. Fits in the palm of your hand. You could bring it as a treat when you're having guests over, especially during the holidays. It's a wonderful treat to have.